morning. It's Beardedwineaux. And you know what? We're back again with some more events for Bravo Italian Restaurant and Bar. Look, here's what we got going on. At Bravo, we do wine events, and I'm the sommelier, I'm the service manager. You all know that I'm a passionate individual, and I love fermented grape juice. So what I like to do is we like to put together these events, following in the great tradition of all those that came before me. So our events that we're moving forward for the rest of the year are going to be no different than they have been before, except for that we plan to elevate the experience for you and all of your attendees. So this next event that we'll be holding at Bravo will be on May 15th. That is the day after Mother's Day. So that's a Monday afternoon or Monday evening, I'll say, 6:30 p.m. You'll get your tickets at bravobuzz.com. If you are not on our email list, be sure to sign up to be on our email list at www.bravobuzz.com, and you'll click the contacts link and make sure you give us your email address, and we can start notifying you for all events coming forward. You'll show up. It's going to be a trade style tasting. We'll have tables that will have wine. We'll have some tables with some food, and we're going to pour some really, really cool wines. So let's talk about the wines that we're pouring. Yes, we are an Italian restaurant, so it's only fitting that one of the events that we plan this summer are going to feature some really, really interesting Italian wines, and unique but still classic, and some things that haven't been exposed to our market as of yet. My friend Giorgio Bava, Bava family, Bava Winery in Piemonte, are some magnificent wines and some classic expressions of some of your favorite Piedmont wines. Yes, we're talking Barbera. Yes, we're talking about Nebbiolo, and we're talking about it in Langhe fashion, but also even more defined in Barolo, that you all know. We love the king of wines, right? But we also have some really, really cool Piemonte white wines. And I'm not leaving out my sweet wine drinkers, because for all of you who love Moscato, you know that I'm going to tell you that the best expression of Moscato is going to come from the Asti region in Piemonte. So we're going to talk about that today with my friend Giorgio. So look, we're going to check in with him. We're going to make sure that you all are informed on what's happening on May 15th at 6 p.m. at Bravo Italian Restaurant. That's the Monday after Mother's Day. And you'll go to www.bravo.com to bravobuzz.com to sign up and make sure you get your seats reserved. So let's check in with Bravo right now, and let's see what he's got going on. I'm pretty sure he's drinking all these wines right now. Giorgio, how are you?
Ciao, tutto bene, tutto bene. Tu come stai? Bene?
Things are great. Things are great. Things are fantastic.
I thought this was in Italian. Sorry, I didn't really get that. We don't speak much English in here, but like we'll try. We use our hands and try to understand each other. Very good.
You know what? I use my hands a lot too, and it gets me in trouble sometimes on the service floor. I don't like to knock any wine glasses over.
Yes, but wine glasses are there to be used, okay? And part of their use is to be knocked over because it makes everybody happy. Everybody start clapping, everybody order another glass. If you come to Italy, you come to a restaurant, people will start clapping and make friends with you. So it's not a problem.
And man, look, I'm glad to talk to you today. Look, me and you have been chopping it up. You know, I'm in Dallas. I'm at the Texan Wine Conference, which I do every year. You are busy in Piemonte right now. What's going on with you out there in Italy?
We are mostly hoping for a bit of rain. Right? It's been a very cold spring, and we didn't have much rain. But look, to be frank, we are looking at the outdoor window, waiting for rain, and we are planning a lot of trips. Because now me and my father will start traveling the same day. I'll come to the States, and the same time he will go to Jakarta, I think. Singapore. Looks like people want good wines, so we're constantly traveling. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
Well, yes, people want good wines, and it's a good thing that you all provide them. So we're happy that you guys are doing the work. Well, we're hoping for some rain for you. We'll do a little rain dance here in Mississippi to see if we can get that happening across the pond here. So look, let's just talk a little bit about it, because I'm going to pour, me and you, we're going to pour a bunch of wines here in May for the folks here in Mississippi. Tell me a little bit about Bava Winery. Let's talk to other people about it. You guys have been making wine in Piemonte for how long?
We are kind of new in the Italian scene, because we have something like 110, 115 years, which in Italy is kind of the basic. Like when you go to Italy, the big wine fair, if you don't have at least 100 years of history, is like, oh, that's a newbie. New kids on the block. So we were born in 1911. So that's 112 as a company, as a winery. But the family has been actually been making wine since the 1600. So our family used to have a farmhouse in a hill that I see just outside the window there, with lands. So we were making, we had a couple of cows, we had crops and wine. And this has been proven. We have all the documents from the church registry, because the family never moved for 400 years from the same, not even the village is like the periphery of a village. We could trace back all the history there. But in 1911, we set up a winery, start selling wine, more like the wine in bottle, not just for our own consumption and consumption of the farmers around us. So yeah, that's the history. That's where we are in Piemonte. Piemonte, we are in the Monferrato area. We are proud Monferrato people, which is this hill area. To make it simple, is between Milan and Turin. To make it simple, beautiful area, full of vineyards, but also there is a lot of diversity. There is a lot of forest, a lot of trees, a lot of crops. It's a cool area in Langhe. So we also have we play with 3 different estates, and one of them is in Barolo, in the Langhe area. That's where we make our Nebbiolo. So that's Bava.
Well, you got the best stuff going on, and I love that we talked about that, and I love the relativity that you made it, right? So your family's been growing grapes since the 1600s, but you've been a winery since 1911, right?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of it really opens a lot of people's eyes, right? Because yes, you're an old family, right? You're generations old and centuries old, doing things in Piemonte, but the winery young, which would mean a couple of things, right? So you guys, with your history, you know what's expected out of Piemonte, and you guys are legitimate, right? You're not new kids on the block, as you recommended, if you're under 100 years old. Look, in the United States, we have wineries that are, 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're considered legacy wineries, for us in the United States. But you guys are so official, like literally going back to the 1600s, your statement, the placement that you've held in that space, that's what I think legitimizes you. And that's also why I think that your wines, look, I tasted through them. Your wines are distributed through Mad Vines here in Mississippi. I tasted through them. And the first thing that I noticed, I was like, these are classic styles. These are styles that I would be tested on in an exam. These are the styles of wine that I think really, truly speak to the terroir of the space. And you mentioned a little bit about being in Monferrato in a hilly area. Let's talk a little bit about that terroir and the geography there, right? We got some hills there. Talk to me a little bit about aspect and sun exposure over the different vineyards that are placed there. Talk to me about Nebbiolo, right? Obviously, we know the fog is there, but what does the sun exposure look like for the development of character in the grape skins?
That's you go straight to the challenging questions. That's the big conversation now. There are some grape varieties that are a bit more resistant. They're a bit more flexible. Nebbiolo is delicate. It's so delicate. It's like an overly delicate Pinot Noir. And that's why it's not like Nebbiolo will never be Cabernet Sauvignon, will never be a variety that is planted everywhere in the world, or that will give amazing results everywhere, because again, is extremely delicate to grow and is extremely delicate to vinify, and then even to age. So back to your question, sorry, heat has become one of the conversation points between producers and generally in the industry here, because it's not a variety that likes hot temperature. What the interesting thing is that, well, Nebbiolo, the word comes from the word nebbia, which means fog, because it was the variety that was vinified, harvested during the foggy time, so late autumn. It's still now is the last grape to be picked, Nebbiolo. So this tells you something. It tells you that it takes so long to actually grow, and it likes cold temperature because it takes so long, and it does not want. When you taste a Nebbiolo, when you taste a Barolo, you don't get overly ripened. You don't get sugar. You get, if it's a well-made one, you get freshness. You get floral. You get, well, if it's a Barolo, you also get some wood aging, We have our philosophy there on wood aging. We go there later if you want. But Nebbiolo, you really want zinginess, lightness. You want structure. You want depth. But it does not mean sugar. So if you cook this grape, that's not what you get. You get a cooked fruit. So it's now getting a bit of an issue because the temperature here are getting really hot. Piemonte is an area that has very big variety. It can go very low in temperature, minus 15 Celsius. You do the maths. I don't really remember the Fahrenheit. But in winter, it snows heavily. And in summer, it's super hot. It's overly 35, 40 Celsius degrees. Wow. Really, really hot. Now it's getting more and more. So now summer is getting longer and the snow times are getting shorter. So back to your point, what used to be the best possible vineyards for Nebbiolo, for Barolo, now they may be too hot. So it used to be southern, a vineyard exposed to the south for Nebbiolo or east, I don't know, was fantastic. The best cru of Barolo are very well sunny, really, really sunny. Now in those cru, we need to work so that we need to do a lot of canopy management. So we need to let the leaves cover the bunch in order not to get them overcooked. So what used to be an exposure, like a western exposure or a eastern exposure, it was like borderline for Nebbiolo. Now people are looking for it. And producers are buying grapes northern and northern. In the North Piemonte, there are a lot of producers from Barolo that are purchasing vineyards because it's colder.
Wow.
So that's the situation.
Wow, that's so. I gotta say so. As a student and academic, that gets really geeky, and I really start to think about we're going to be looking more at expressions of Nebbiolo coming out of the north, having more of that style where it's lighter, fresher, but still holding its tannic expression, that structure that holds up to those heavier meals, but the acid and freshness that's there for anything a little bit lighter and delicate. Like it's so versatile. The way that this fruit is available in a bottle, right? From the way that you all are farming it. That's magnificent. That was a lot of great information, Giorgio. And I want to listen to that answer again and study it because for students and academics, I'm going to talk to those folks that are maybe watching that are studying for certifications at this point. We have to understand that vintage expression is real. It's part of terroir. And if we're looking at younger vintages, considering climate change, because considering things are getting warmer across the world, that we have to understand that things that we knew that we studied in books from a decade ago or even before, we have to understand that's probably changing now, and that the further north you're getting, or maybe sun exposure is a real thing to be concerned about when you're talking about places, especially like Monferrato. I want to talk about this because you mentioned about aging. Now, one thing that's always for a lot of consumers, it's a thing, a point of it's something that they pay attention to, aging. We know that Barolo has to go through how much aging in barrel before release?
So that's 30 months.
30 months. All right, so we're going to spend that much time in barrel before it even goes to bottle, right? 32, 36. And you all are aging pretty much longer than 30. 30 is the minimum. You all are aging longer than that, am I right?
Yeah. So we do, it's minimum 3 years from the harvest in general of aging. It can be bottle and barrel, but we do a minimum of 3 years in barrel. So that's I misunderstood that. So you can get already in the market now 23. You're getting already 2019. That's the vintage already in the market. We are soon getting 2020. But what we do a minimum of 3 years in the barrel because we use big barrels, simple, and we use used oak. So that's kind of really key in what we do, and you need to understand what Barolo is and how to play with, because Barolo is a variety that is heavily tannins. Nebbiolo is a grape that grieves a lot of tannins. There are two ways of making it smoother. The small barrels way, you get a lot of soft tannins, you get a bit of vanilla, you get it fatter, you use a bit of sugar, not really sugar, but you get a bit of softness coming from the wood to make it bolder and therefore easier to enjoy. Or you use thyme. The tannins will get softened, there is going to be polymerization there, and they will breathe but that takes time. We are on that front. So I don't like the expression traditionalist, classic, or so on. We have our own style, and for us, our style is again, one of our mantra is that wood is not really an ingredient. We don't use wood. We don't want wood flavors. We use wooden barrels to let the wine breathe and evolve.
Yep.
Because you cannot get an evolution from steel tank. A steel tank tend to hold that flavors from the harvest. Wooden barrels have exchange of air, therefore it will evolve. Our Barolo has this softness because it did evolve through a big barrel. We use 53 hectoliters barrels. They're very big. They are. I don't really know how to show them, but well, it's more or less 2 meters diameter. They're vertical, easier to, and they're taller than me. Just to give an idea for the size. But what we want there is not this woody vanilla influences, just to let it soften. And that's what we do in our Barolo. So what you taste there is only the vintage, the terroir, and literally the work that we've done in the vineyard itself.
No, it makes a ton of sense, and the philosophy behind it really sings to integrity behind the brand. This is why I'm really excited to present y'all's wines. Look, when they were brought to me, I sat at the bar, I tasted through a lineup. I chose the ones that I thought that were really going to sing to our consumership. I was really, really excited to hear when that the wines were coming. I was super excited to hear that you were coming. And you're taking time out of your busy schedule. This is a busy time of year for you. I know it's growing season, but you are in sales at Bava. Am I right?
Yeah. I'm lucky because I have a big family. So we are 7 people in the winery. In a winery of 22 people, 25 people, 20. Well, including everybody in the vineyard. So we're quite family focused, family heavy. And because I have, my father does export as I do. Then I have the 2 uncles that are working the vineyards in the winery. Then my sister that does a bit more marketing and administration. My grandfather, who's actually 93 years old now and still coming to the winery every single day and still being the president and deciding things. He's really energetic, way more energetic than I am. And then there is my cousin who's helping with the management of the properties, contracts, bureaucracy. So that's a big family. So that's why I could talk.
That is fantastic. I love the fact that this is a family winery. This is literally vine to glass that we're about to taste, and I can't express how happy I am that we are able to present this to the folks here in Jackson, Mississippi. Look, if you are checking in right now or wherever you're streaming this is Giorgio Bava with Bava Winery of the Bava family in Piemonte, Italy. We're talking about a magnificent event that's coming to Bravo Italian Restaurant and Grill in Jackson, Mississippi, in Highland Village, Monday, May 15th, the day after Mother's Day. We're going to be pouring some wines. Chef Matt Neighbor is going to put together some food and some snacks for us to eat. And we're going to have a really open forum where we're walking around the restaurant. It's going to be yours. We're going to taste some magnificent wines. So we're talking about Barolo. We're talking about all the other things that are happening in Barbera. We're talking about things that are happening that they're growing. We're talking about this event. So, Giorgio, I really got to dig into this part of it because people are really interested. I have in the South, a lot of our food has a lot of seasoning, has a lot of spice. And we know that one of the things that pairs best with spice or seasonings is sometimes sugar. But we also have to understand that there's a reverence and a regard for dry wine globally. But, there's a trend for sweet wine drinkers. And I think that there's expressions of sweet wines that you and I know as people that understand wine, and other people in the industry and the trade understand that there's some wines that have some reverence that are still sweet. And you all are doing a great expression of that with the Moscato, but Moscato d'Asti and not a different expression of Moscato. Before I let you get into this, I want to explain just to some people watching. There's Moscato from the Muscat grape that is grown in other areas of the world. Moscato d'Asti, specifically coming from the Asti area in the Piemonte, is I'll say, true classic expression of this grape and prepared in a sweeter fashion. Giorgio, tell me a little bit about your Moscato d'Asti and the philosophy behind it, because I love it. I love it. It's a little bit effervescent. It's got some spritz to it. It's fantastic. You tell me what you're thinking. Tell me about it.
Because it's something that I actually discovered when I came to the States the first time. Because I started this job only 2 years ago. Before I was in UK selling whiskey, because the family sent me away and do it. Luckily, I could make my own experience.
Oh, welcome back, Giorgio. We're happy to have you back.
I got my father was like, oh, you could go to the States. We need you there. And to be frank, I kind of miss this place a little bit, to be frank. So that's why I came back after 8 years there. And yeah, it's a nice place. It's a really nice place. We are 1 hour from the mountains skiing, 1 hour from the seaside. We're in the middle of the beautiful countryside. You eat so well for no money. And after being in London for so long, I was so fed up of not being able to actually have like a proper steak, a proper piece of bread every day. And so I was like, guys, good cheese, so much good.
It must feel good.
So what I discovered coming to the state, I'm very good at going outside topic, but that's a different story. What I discovered is Moscato you have an opinion on Moscato that I never heard of, because the only Moscato that I could find in Italy and in Europe is Moscato d'Asti, or good quality Moscato, Muscadel from France, or other forms of Moscato from maybe Mediterranean areas, aromatic varieties. While Moscato is a word I understand that actually is often synonymous with a sweet mass-produced wine. Sorry, but it's not. Yes, it's very easy to make a sweet wine. It's very easy. The easiest thing ever. Making a wine that does not tire your palate, that actually refresh you. And what you want from a good Moscato is refreshment. You don't want sugar. You want to be refreshed. You want to drink the glass of Moscato, and then you don't want the need to actually go and have a glass of water. Because this is not a sugar juice. This is not a sugar syrup. After you drink only sugar syrup, you need to refresh your palate. What you want from this thing is actually to be refreshed. So the key here, I almost want to call it a dry wine. It is not dry, but it has a dry finish. And this is super important. We're going to do this game when we are there in Mississippi together, and we're actually going to drink it, and then we're going to be like, okay, swallow it. Very good. Now focus there. You don't have sugar left. You have an aromatic feeling. You get almost fruit. Tropical fruit, you get higher, but what you had there was actually acidity and aromatic. Yes, they were sugar, fine. But the key is to make an acidic and dry finish wine. This is super important in a good quality Moscato, because a sweet Moscato, easy. So it's super easy. A Moscato that actually has a good finish, that calls for another glass, that's not it. That's not easy. And this is really the key for Moscato d'Asti.
I'm 100% with you. I love the way you're thinking about Moscato d'Asti and a wine that you want to drink that's refreshing, so investing that it's not cloying, it's not so weighty on the palate. I mean, look, there's some appeal to that, right? But if that's what you want, then we're really talking about a different kind of wine, something that may be fortified, something that may be a Passamento method or something of the sort. That's a different style of wine. And I think that when we are drinking sweet wines, or we're talking about sweet wines, I think we have to talk about what style is sweet and what are we doing with it, right? A beverage has a purpose. Beverage for food, or are we just talking about beverage to indulgent? If you're just looking for something indulgent, then maybe, yeah, you do want something cloying and a little bit syrupy, that's weighty on the palate. That's a different thing. But if I'm eating something that's got some spice to it, for instance, at Bravo, we have a dish that has some spice in it. It's a catfish and grits. Catfish is it's the vegetable of Mississippi. I'll say that, right? Catfish is everywhere, but we do it with a spice fashion. There's some andouille sausage in there, some corn, some bell pepper. There's some things that really are spicy, they elevate on the palate, some capsaicin that touches on the palate. You want something sweet to balance it out. And I want something refreshing also, because there's some weight from the oils and the grease that are in that dish that comes with the truffle polenta. All those things make sense if you have something with Moscato d'Asti, right? It's bright, it's effervescent, it's fresh, but it's still got some sweetness, some perceivable ripeness to it. But it's not something that weighs you down so much so that it's so hedonistic that you really need water after you drink and then eat the food, right? So your expression of Moscato that Bava produces, I'm excited to present that to people. And look, it's hot outside. Nobody wants to drink something that's so weighty. You want something that's a little bit fresh and refreshing when it's hot outside. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
And it's super interesting. Like I didn't know about your cuisine much. What I mean is I didn't know. I'm not an expert in Mississippi cuisine because I never been there actually. But I heard of this recipe before when we were talking, and it makes total sense. And the beauty of wine is not being totally strict in one style, in one construct. Okay, this is Italian Piemontese wines. I need to have them with meat and with truffles. Boring. Not only, like, the beauty of wine is actually to adapt them to the local dish with spice, which is not something that we have in Piemonte at all. I don't know even where I could get a catfish in here. And spiciness, my tolerance to hot spices is extreme. Like, milk for me is already quite spicy, but that's a different story. And it makes total sense. Like Moscato, it would be perfect, especially something that has this drier finish that cleans away. You get the spiciness, the hot, you get the fatness of the fish, and these refresh you, so cleans away the fat, and then plus the sweetness rebalance the spice. It makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. So I'm really super excited to have you coming in. So look, I can't wait to have you on May 15th, the Monday after Mother's Day at Bravo Italian Restaurant. Look, for all those that are checking in, go to bravobuzz.com. Make sure you click the events tab, get your reservation to come see me. Giorgio's going to be pouring. We got some folks from Mad Vines that are going to be there as well. You'll see your favorite servers, bartenders, and chefs in the space. We appreciate your support for Southern wine culture. Look, we got some great things coming down the line. I want y'all to make sure y'all checking in on the website and on our blog to make sure that you know what we got going on down the line. Giorgio, I appreciate your time, man. I know you're busy. You got to get it back out there and hustle some bottles. Just to give you guys a rundown that are coming to check us out on Monday, May 15th at 6 p.m., we're going to be pouring the Moscato. We'll be pouring the Gavi, the Cortese grape. We didn't even talk about that. So my dry white wine drinkers, I got something for you too. Yep, you got it? Look at it. He's got it in place, ready to rock. Ready to rock. So we got some Cortese grape, Gavi is going to be poured, some Moscato is going to be poured, some Nebbiolo is going to be poured from overarching Longa area, as well as some Barolo, King of Wines. We're going to pour some Barbera in a great fashion. Look, we got something for everybody. Matt's going to put together some awesome food. I'm going to be back in Jackson just a little bit. So all of you all that are coming to Bravo, I can't wait to see you guys and tell you all my stories from Texas. I'm in Dallas right now. Giorgio, give me something. What do you want the people to know about Bava Winery before we get out of here?
Very good point. Family, Italy, modern, definitely, but with a very, very deep roots. So we know how to deal with wines. We know how to work the vineyards, but at the same time, we are ready to go on an airplane. And this is the beauty of the classicity of Italian and Piemontese wines that actually, we know we are in 2023. We know we can drink Moscato with catfish. So let's make people think outside the box. Let's bring the Barolo and take away the truffle. It's not truffle season, and try with different weird local products and make people think I can get this bottle and drink it in a different way that that Italian chef has never told me. Let's see how it works. Let's make people experiment and have fun. That's what you do with wines. Because in the end, exactly as you said, is fermented grape juice.
It's fermented grape juice, man. It's easy. It's just like that.
Exactly.
Hey, Giorgio, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. We'll see you all Monday, May 15th, 6 p.m. at Bravo Italian Restaurant. Giorgio and I and some other folks from Mad Vines are going to be pouring some magnificent wines from Bava Winery and Bava Family Wines. Thank you so much. I'll talk to y'all soon. We will see y'all Monday, May 15th. Peace, y'all.
Ciao, Chuck. Ciao a tutti.